My name is Abraham Klein, and this is Yinzer Club. All right, and welcome to the program. We want to certainly thank you for tuning in again, or maybe this is your first time. If it is, we certainly welcome you to the club. Anyway, today's program is going to be an interview I had with a gentleman by the name of John Finson. He is the owner of a business in Indiana County, up in Indiana, PA, called The Experience. And so we're going to talk all about that today. We're going to be interviewing him, and he's going to be talking all about that today. And it was a pretty cool experience. I was actually up there one other time when I was actually delivering some of the Yinzer magazines up there, and he told us all about the business, showed us how to throw an axe, which is pretty cool, and there's even some bird poop involved, so you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. Before we get into that, I want to talk about a place that's near and dear to my heart. You know, there's a few places I like to go to. Like to go to a nice pizza shop locally. There's also a local bakery that I like to go to. Both places involve food, which is kind of weird. Another place that doesn't involve food around here is a place called the All-American Barbershop. And personally, for me, that's one of my favorite places to go visit and meet some of the people. I mean, in many ways, it's like a cultural center, which I'll get to in a minute. Unfortunately, a lot of those places have not been around, well, not around, but they've not been open due to the global situation that's been going on. And it's been it's been kind of unfortunate because a lot of people are missing that camaraderie, that ability to get together, and of course, even now with us going into the green phase, or maybe by the time this comes out, we'll be in the green phase of the economy, and I'm sure there's still going to be a lot of changes that are going to be made regarding that. But a while back I wrote a piece on the barbershop. I just wanted to read it to you and just see if maybe this is something that maybe you can relate to. So far we haven't had a lot of comments on the episodes, but don't hesitate if you want to comment something like about that. Say maybe later we talk about the experience, and you want to comment about that, about your experience at the place, you can do that as well. But right now I'm going to talk about the barbershop, because to me it's more than just a place to get a haircut. In fact, historically, if you go back and learn about barbers, they did do more than just give haircuts. They would do dentistry. Some of them would do other medical work. People got more than just a haircut, and sadly for some, it did involve stuff like getting blood led and getting their teeth pulled, most likely without Novocaine. But today, fortunately, they don't do stuff like that. We go to a professional dentist and we go to an actual medical doctor. But it's still for more than just a haircut, and that's what I want to read to you today. So here we go. There's truly something special about a small-town barbershop. That is because it is so much more than just a place to get your haircut. It is in many ways an all-purpose cultural center. On many occasions, you'll walk into a nearly full shop. Of course, nowadays that might not be such the case. Of course, that does not mean everyone is there for a haircut. Most are there for a myriad of other purposes. Many are there just to talk. The subject ranges from a variety of topics, and my time talking about the latest news or sharing stories of the good old days are some of the more popular things to talk about. Sometimes there'll be guys like veterans who stop by and give war stories. When the shop isn't as full, there's usually something to read. There's always plenty of magazines and other periodicals that date as new as today or as old as who knows when. The place is always warm and welcoming to all who enter. The decor includes pretty much every hobby the shop owner has outside of being a barber, such as hunting, probably mostly hunting. But pretty much all of the latest news, i.e. town gossip, passes through the barbershop. It serves as the perfect location to learn about who is doing what, give or take a few details that may or may not have been fabricated. Some days you'll walk in just to get a haircut, but by the time you've left, you've also got some fresh tomatoes, 50-50 tickets concert tickets, a Christmas tree, and who knows what else by the time you leave. Also, learn about all the upcoming events in town, as the bulletin board is full of flyers to help you fill your weekend with plenty to do. Friends of all kinds meet at the barbershop. They meet to laugh, tell stories, get advice, make a hustle, and maybe get a haircut. All right, and as I said in the beginning, if you have like your favorite barber or maybe hair salon that you go to, comment about it down below. I'd like to read about it and see where maybe some of you guys go in your local area. As you can see, at the time of this, there's not been really the green phase yet, so I am definitely in need of a haircut. I can't even. I know we kind of went into lockdown around here around the 13th of March, and so I think it was probably maybe even a couple weeks before that before I got my haircut. And like they said, things are about to get really ugly. And anyway, so now we're going to go to that interview with Mr. Finzen, the experience in Indiana. And so here it is. Hope you enjoy. Hello, Yinzers. My name is Abraham Klein. Today I'm here with John Finzen.
How's it going?
Good. And today we're at the Experience, is an axe throwing business here in Indiana County, and we're gonna just sort of get to know him, get to know a little bit about his business, and the wonderful world of axe throwing. So, all right. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Getting ready to get things open back up after the whole COVID closed down for everything. So
yeah. So at the time that we're doing this conversation, it's a little after June. Getting close to the green phase, as they say.
3 days.
Yeah. What's it been like for you getting ready for all that?
Just getting things cleaned back up. Honestly, shutdown for me wasn't too bad because I don't have a lot of employees. The wood, I have to do some changes to the wood because it dries out because I'm not constantly wetting it and changing it out. But getting things back up and running isn't taking me too much.
Yeah. So maybe as conversation goes on, we'll talk more about that. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the idea of axe throwing. I honestly am. I mean, obviously, I've heard of like Vikings and stuff like that doing axe throwing and stuff like that, but. The idea of people in the United States doing axe throwing is not something I've heard about too recently. It's only a recent thing I've been hearing about. So where does that come from?
Actually, the sport of axe throwing, of course, like you said, been around for a long time, but Canada has actually is like the biggest pusher of it right now. And they've been doing it for close to 15 years. And I'd say maybe anywhere from 5 to 7 years ago, it really started to catch on into the United States. And so a lot of the people who, the WATL, and I believe there's another one, the IATF, International Axe Throwing Federation. I think they both started as big companies in Canada, but because they kind of had the rules set, it's really exploded into the United States. It's been easy for people to open up businesses with it because they make it so easy to kind of join the group. So
and that's how is a person able to start theirs independently, or is it?
Yeah, start independently. I pay a membership fee to join the WATL.
Okay.
They have a sanctioned leagues. They have 4 a year, and then they have a championship once a year. It's on ESPN. But open up your business. You can open one up, and you can kind of do whatever you want for targets. I just chose to be a part of WATL, so there's a little more structure to what I'm doing.
Okay. So tell us a little about yourself. Obviously, the owner, I guess the founder, right? Everything like that. You guys have been here in Indiana, I think, a couple years now?
Me and my wife have lived in Indiana for 12 years now.
12 years?
So I came out here because of oil and gas. I grew up in Iowa, small town in Iowa. Joined the military when I turned 18. Got out and came out here for oil and gas and worked that for almost 10 years. One was a local business, NATCO. It was bought out a couple times, and another that I worked out. But I worked the eastern side of Pennsylvania and kind of eastern side of the United States for the most part when I was doing oil and gas. Decided I wanted to get out of that, was going to go back to school, but being that I had been out of school for so long and so used to having my hands on stuff, I couldn't be in classes. So then I took time off and decided to do this because I started throwing axes during that time. So
okay. Now, if I remember right, the last time I was here, I stopped by just to actually just drop off some magazines from the Yinzer magazine, and you said that a lot of it started with your love of bowling.
Yeah, actually, the league's kind of canceled out for this year, but I've bowled at Mohawk Lanes for the last, I'd say 3 years, and then off and on even for the last 12 years that we were here. So, I mean, but yeah, bowling, because there's a consistency to bowling. You do the same thing consistently every time, you're going to get good results, and the same thing with axe throwing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So getting back to about how you eventually transitioned into the axe throwing world, you said that you'd spend a lot of time in the gas fields, and all that kind of stuff. At what point did you feel like, because I know you mentioned about the schooling and things like that, at what point did you feel like you wanted to start an axe throwing business?
Let's see, I started throwing axe maybe a little bit over a year ago, and the establishment I was going to throw at had a great time, did some leagues down there, and I was actually interested in franchising with them, and things just didn't work out well, and I was like, I knew this is something I wanted to do, and so I decided to just kind of go on it on my own, and there's a lot of work that goes into like designing the logo and stuff. I had a local business help me design the logo, Planiful.
Okay.
Help design my logo and get my website and stuff going, and so it's been, if I've been throwing for just over a year, it's probably about a year planning, getting everything going. So
okay. So tell us a little about your tell us about your facilities here. You got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I have 10 lanes. I consider them like 5 arenas because usually I don't put multiple groups together.
Right, yeah.
So I can have up to probably 10 to 12 people per arena. Now in the back, it gets a little tight just because of how the lanes are done.
Yeah.
So I tend to put my smaller groups towards the back and my bigger ones, parties type things out here because they got access to more tables and stuff like that. I'm in the process of cleaning some stuff out on the side of the building to possibly put some picnic tables out there so people want to sit outside.
Okay. Yeah.
And then possibly having some grills available for people to cook.
Yeah, I see you got the garage door here. That kind of probably helps.
Lets in some fresh air, yeah.
Yeah.
Just lets in some nice sunlight too, so it's not just all natural lighting.
Yeah. So since opening in the business, what's been the experience for you with people coming in and actually participating?
Well, I think it's normal for like starting out. It was really slow, and I had my worries. Probably my first 3 months were really tight for me. I was worrying a lot about, if I was going to have enough money to do stuff.
I just got put somebody.
And a bird is in the building.
A bird's in the building. All right.
So that's supposedly good luck. But,
okay. That's good to know.
But about December hit, and I started getting a lot of gift certificates, and I had a huge increase of flow of people coming in at that time. So I had, it's a learning thing. My wife has her own business in town, and she's been helping me do some things, but for the most part, she's let me learn things on my own.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's great. I'm getting awesome groups. I've had a lot of repeat customers. My leagues, because I do leagues, are going well. I have 2 different leagues that run like a Sunday and on a Thursday, and I've got about 12 people in each one. So
okay. So what kind of people would you say? I don't know. Maybe I don't want to use the phrase "kind of people," but like who usually gets attracted to this kind of stuff?
I think people that are just kind of looking for something new to do. I wouldn't say there's any specific type of person because I have a couple people on my leagues that I wouldn't think would be a normal like axe throwers, people would say. But they really enjoy it. They come here, they're not like high scorers, but they enjoy being here with other people.
Throwing the axes, right?
And throwing axes, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I'm trying to do here is to not necessarily push like an image of being like a lumberjack or a Viking or whatever type situation. I want anybody to feel comfortable coming in here and that they don't have to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Wear flannel or plaid when they come in type thing. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've noticed some of my different. I've seen some of my friends that don't axe throwing, and they usually get together, as a party or whatnot.
Yep.
It's not usually somebody's like, I'm just going to go axe throwing by themselves.
I have a few people that come in here by themselves.
Okay.
I actually have a few father and son that come in together and
Okay.
throw. I had the Boy Scouts here,
Huh.
and a few company like lunches or whatnot. They'll come here and have lunch, have a few drinks, and they cut off the day early for them. Type
Yeah.
thing. And so
Yeah. So, actually, speaking of that, when I first picked up a brochure,
Mhm.
I think I was at a local pizza shop or something, and I picked up the restaurant. That's how I found out about you guys.
Mhm.
And it says something in there about bringing your own beer and stuff like that.
Yep.
Now, I'm not a scientist or anything like that, or maybe, but how does it work with beer and axe throwing?
So I allow beer, wine, and mead.
Okay.
No hard liquors because that tends to get people intoxicated.
Right.
really quick.
Yeah.
Honestly, nobody's sitting here and like just pounding them back.
Okay.
It's more like having a soda at the same time you're throwing axes. Nobody's extremely drunk when they're here.
Okay. That's
And that's
good.
something we pay attention to. If someone's not, really looks like they're having troubles because they've been drinking, we'll have them stop.
Yeah.
I've had one guy who came in here once, and I think he'd been drinking before, and of course they drank while they were here.
Yeah.
But he actually sat himself down. We didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
So, but he was getting to that point where he was stumbling a little bit, and he stopped himself. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask if there had been any incidents where people just started and they start throwing axes.
no, and
Long
I
direction.
have multiple coaches here in the evening times when there's lots of people here.
Okay.
And we keep track. We make sure that, and that's one of our safety things. Don't point your axes at other people.
Right.
Always keep pointed downrange. And we make sure that people are kind of adhering to that and they're not, threatening other people or
Yeah.
being a little wild with it type
Right.
thing.
So with anybody that's obviously a novice, it's their first time
Mhm.
throwing axes. Obviously, I came here once. You showed me a little bit about throwing the axes, and I couldn't seem to even get a stick to the wall. But is there a learning curve with that, or do you show people how to throw before they start?
We show them how to throw. We go through a couple different throws for them. And then we'll spend 10, 15 minutes watching them, giving them little pointers here and there. And then we tend to step back, and then we'll keep watching in case they need a little stuff. But we found that a lot of people tend to get their own throw, and then we try to modify that just a little bit to help them out better.
Yeah.
So,
And speaking of that, what's your advice? What's the best way to actually throw an axe?
there's two different ways that are considered legal for the WATL.
Yeah.
There's one-handed, two-handed throws. My recommendation with one-handed throw, I like to hold my axe up so I can see where it's going to go. A lot of people want to start from their side.
Huh.
But you don't have to grip the axe really hard, and it's just a nice fluid motion and a release. A lot of people want to ask about accuracy at first, and I'm like, let's get you sticking them, and then we'll start figuring out how you can start aiming the axe.
Mm-hmm.
Two-handed is a little different because you're reaching up over your head. I tend to try and get people who need a little more power behind their throw, but it's also a more accurate throw also because everything's centered down your body, and so
Yeah.
so I tend people who are a little squirrely on their throw because there's some people who have a loose grip and the axe will wobble in midair. I switch them to a two-handed, and things steady up and they start doing a bit better.
So there's a one-handed axe and a two-handed axe?
Well, it's the same axe, it's just the grip you use.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Now I do have some slightly longer handled ones that work better for two-handed,
Okay.
just because it's got a little bit longer grip.
Yeah. So you've officially been in business here since when?
I officially opened in mid-August last year.
Mid-August.
So,
Okay. So then you guys actually hadn't even been around for a year,
No.
and all of a sudden we have this new experience
Mhm.
that everybody's getting to experience, and that's everything with the coronavirus and everything like that.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts as you began to hear news of statewide shutdowns and curfews and masks and all that?
I wasn't too bothered with it. I understand what was going on with it. Or maybe I didn't approve with it, but I still followed all the rules for it.
Right.
I didn't try and sneak in, get a whole bunch of people in here and but keep the open sign off. And I understand they're just trying to protect people, and
Yeah.
I got to the point like after a month, I was like, when are we going to go yellow? When are we going green? But
Yeah.
you know, a little stir crazy at that point.
Yeah.
You know,
I think we were all stir crazy.
yeah. So.
After a while.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's cool. So now that we are potentially, I guess, as of Friday, entering back into the green phase, what's up next? You know, what do you guys have planned now?
So starting out, we're going to do reduced laneage, so we'll be down to only 3 arenas, and I have them staggered in such a way that everybody keeps their distance for their groups. And then I have pairs of tables also, so that they don't have to cross other groups to go sit down or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go through the stuff, cleaning axe handles after every group, and kind of sterilizing as much as I can prior to them coming in. So.
Is this going to be where are people going to be encouraged to wear masks and stuff like that? Or is that?
It's going to be highly recommended. I would expect them to probably come in with masks on once they get into their groups, and then the employees will all have masks available. I'll probably have mine, so when I'm talking with the group, I can wear it, and then I'll take it off when I'm just kind of standing around. So, but I would assume groups together will probably be okay with not wearing masks, but that's up to them. You know. We're going to encourage it, but it's also harder to breathe and stuff when you're doing something like that.
We're talking to pass out while you're holding an axe.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah. So getting back to the actual process of throwing, like, what usually takes place? Are people are they counting their throws, or is there a certain amount that counts more?
So
I guess you got numbers on there.
Yeah, so it's scoring, so bullseyes are 6, so you got 1 through 6. There's a blue dot, it's called a kill shot.
Okay.
You can only throw it at certain times, which would be 5th or 10th throw of the match, but it's worth 8 points.
Okay.
But you get nothing if you hit anything else. And normally what we do, we have a few games set up for larger groups, where they might play around the world, where they go from the outside numbers to the bullseye and back out. More of an accuracy type game.
Yeah.
But if you're playing traditional, like just score, we tend to have them rotate out instead of doing a bunch of throws and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're constantly, you don't have one person standing around for a long period of time.
Right. And then you have like chalkboards on the side.
Chalkboards for score.
Yeah.
And we try to provide as much stuff. I even have drink holders on the lane so that they can set their drink down.
Yeah. And are there any people that come in here that don't count score and just throw the axes for fun?
I have a few people that come in and just throw for fun. They're the ones who tend to come in and they just want to destroy boards. Is basically they're throwing as hard as possible.
Yeah.
And it's like the ones who want to throw really hard tend to be the college students because they want to just throw as hard as possible because they think that's what they have to do. You can do a nice easy toss and tend to stick them.
Yeah.
So.
Now, how often do you have to change out the boards on there?
Well, I've switched to a rough cut wood, and since I've done that, I get about 6 hours of throwing on a board, and then I can tend to flip it over and get another 3 to 4 hours out of it.
Yeah.
So I get probably about 10 hours at least of life out of each board.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, hopefully, eventually we'll get to where things are more normalized. Do you foresee the possibility of trying to expand the experience, or do you want to just keep it at like the 10 or 5 lanes or whatever?
I would like to expand it at some point now, whether that's expanding to a different spot here in Indiana or expanding to another town. My whole thing was 3 years guaranteed, not doing anything like expanding, making sure the business is solid here before I worry about going somewhere else. But expansion is always a possibility. Just depends on how things go here.
Yeah. There's that bird again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't poop on me.
Yeah, right. But you said it's good luck. So it's something that. So, I guess in closing, people would like to learn more about the axe experience. Oh yeah, first of all, before we say that, for anybody that's like considering, maybe they've never gone out axe throwing before, and they're curious about it, what would you say to them in regards to getting into it?
It's a great way for stress relief. I have a lot of people that come in here and they leave really like hyped up and excited because they spent an hour throwing an axe at a board. It's actually fairly safe. We have yet to have any injuries, knock on wood.
We have the wood tomorrow.
Yeah, so I got plenty of it. I made sure, so they've had issues with rubber mats that like you would see at a gym. They used to put those in front of them. So I've changed that. I've only got like a carpet and plywood underneath. Helps absorb the energy a lot, so there's less chance of an axe deflecting.
Okay.
I tend to use only wooden handled axes, which is another one because they have axes that have like rubber grills to them and stuff. So I've done as much as I think I can for the safety of people.
Yeah.
I've had people who seem and act like they're extremely weak, can't throw very hard, that we can get sticking. And once you get going and get sticking, it gets more and more exciting.
Yeah.
And that's how I tend to get my repeat customers, is that the excitement of finally actually doing well.
Okay.
You know, so and even if we got to take an hour, the whole hour coaching you the whole time just for you to stick one, we do.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's back behind you.
Oh boy.
Wrong direction, so you're fine.
Yeah, so I guess in closing, people would like to learn more about the experience. Where can they find you?
Well, we have a Facebook page. We also have a website, theexperience.com. And you can call me anytime, 724-388-5129. And I mean, those are the three best ways, or word of mouth. You can probably talk to someone who's been here already.
Yeah, and you guys are located here on Wayne Avenue?
Yeah, 1228 Wayne Avenue. We're in just south of Haas's on the same side.
Okay.
So right next to Colors Incorporated. So.
Okay. So right before we go, I was wondering if maybe for the camera you could show us a little demonstration how to throw an axe.
If I have an axe nearby.
Okay.
Do you need a second?
Okay.
I don't want to necessarily use the tomahawk. It's a little different.
Oh, okay.
So, which part do you want me to throw at?
What's that? Oh, well, I guess just throw it straight at the right there.
Well, and then
And he gets a perfect bullseye.
and there's a bullseye for you.
So, all right. Well, anyway, thank you folks for watching. And I've been here with John Fenzen again. And hope you like this video. Please like, share, follow us, and all that. And in closing, Yinzer, have a great day. And that's our show. We want to thank you again for joining us today for this lovely episode. If you made it to the very end, that's awesome. You are certainly a very valued club member. All right, before we go, I just want to mention, check out some of the other great shows here on the Idiot Radio, on idiotradio.net. We've got the Triple B and Double D Heavyweight Podcast, the Todd DeFazio Show, the Triple B Experience, the Beard on Food, syndicated by from My Ham Radio, so a sports show, tattoo show, Best of the Double D Show, Best of the Village Idiot Show, and just new the Inquisitive Minds, and who knows what else is on here. But you know what is? The Yinzer Club. Come back again for another episode. We'll be glad to have you. Also, be sure to go on to idiotradio.net. Check out some of the great merch, such as this hat and that same statement, Yinz, have a great day, is also on t-shirt and polo shirt. Also, don't forget to go on to yinzerclub.com. Check out some of the rest of the merch that we have. This is Abraham Klein saying join us again next time for Yinzer Club. And Yinz, have a great day.